Why are young people no longer choosing to ride motorcycles? Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while. Thanks to the folks at Dirt Roads, the Facebook group Dirt Roads, they found me some, they find everybody, but I took advantage of finding some dirt roads that they posted right here not far from my home, and I'm pretty excited about taking the GSA on these roads. So I've seen videos recently, some particularly just simply dedicated to this topic, but others mention it in passing, and that is the concern of the motorcycle industry. Just how is the motorcycle industry going to survive with the median age of a new bike buyer is getting higher. Fewer and fewer young people are riding, and people are just banging their heads against the wall trying to figure out why that is. Why are young people no longer choosing to ride motorcycles? And you hear a lot of things, but there's a couple of things that are kind of universal, and some, I think, that are not being talked about much at all, and really should be if we're serious about the health of motorcycling in the United States. Because the truth is, if you look at the statistics, motorcycling in the United States is on a faster decline than it is elsewhere in the world. I don't know if I'm counting e-bikes, because e-bikes obviously are growing in popularity, and scooters are growing in popularity. But by and large, we like to talk about motorcycles, right? Just look at the traction of the GSA, just so easy. Just have a little throttle, and it just pumps away, and it just goes, and it just goes. So the big issue, everybody says, it is these kids today, they're risk averse, they don't want to do anything, they're bubble wrapped and all that stuff. And I teach high school, I think I've mentioned this before, and there's a degree of truth to that. The number of kids, or the percentage of kids, I'll say today, who aren't getting their license, for instance, is so much higher than it would ever have been when I was in high school. That was the thing. It was breathing, was getting your driver's license. But now with rideshare, Uber, things like that, all the DWI scare stories that kids are fed from the time they go to school, I guess. I don't know if that contributes to it, but I can't imagine it doesn't. These are things. So kids are a degree risk averse. But I just don't buy that that's the real reason. And I'm going to give you a few that I think are reasons why. And the first is they don't ride when they're kids. I can't speak to many places, but near where I live, the places you can go and ride a dirt bike are few and far between now. In Connecticut, there are 2 public places you can go and ride a dirt bike, and the dirt bikes have to be plated. So you've in essence got to ride a dual sport. So there's not, the kids don't build the same experience. They're building that experience now in e-bikes, crashing on the street, not really riding off-road, where sometimes you could argue that the injuries are less severe because the injuries that these kids are suffering on these e-bikes are crazy. So I'll say the first thing is there's not really a training ground for kids anymore like there was when we were kids. We go to the open lot or wherever because, you could just do things in the old days and do things, and if something bad happened, somebody wasn't hiring a lawyer. That wasn't the first thing that somebody was going to do. Well, that's kind of the first thing today. If you went to the open lot and your kid rode a dirt bike on the open lot and, fell down and broke his arm on the open lot, the owner of the open lot is going to get sued by somebody. Why? Because you can't afford the health care. We're going to get to that, but that's kind of why. I'm sorry, bud, I can't really help it, but I've got to sue you because, the health care, the insurance company says I have to. or something along those lines. And so we'll get to that in a second. So the unemployment rate among recent college graduates is higher than the national average. It's somewhere between 6 and the national average is 4.1, I think. The next problem with people who are have college degrees or who are young adults is many of them, a higher percentage of college degree people are underemployed, meaning they're not working in a job that requires their degree or perhaps any degree at all. These people we call underemployed. This rate is 41% among recent college graduates between 23 and 28. I think that's the number. That's a big number. And if you're underemployed like that, you don't have money to spend on a motorcycle. What do you, motorcycle? What? You don't have money to pay your bills. You're probably still living at home. And that brings us to the next point. The median age of the first-time home buyer in the United States in 2025 was 40 years old. 40 years old. First-time home buyer. That's, it's 2 years older than it was just the year before in 2024. So in 2024, the median age, first-time home buyer, was 38. And in 2025, it was 40. Which is crazy, you can think about it. In 1 year, it went up 2 years in age. So young people are risk averse, sure, but they're more broke. They just don't have any money. And the folks only a little bit older than them, between 30 and 40, they experienced in their lifetime, what's going on here? These guys going out to lunch. You're good? You good? You good? You good? You good? Good, 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 good. I guess they're good. They experienced 9/11. Right at the start of their folks who were around 40, kids I taught 30 years ago. And then when they start getting their feet under them, the financial crisis of 2008. Now this, COVID. They didn't grow up in the same world. They've had these. I was established in my career at 9/11. In 2001, I was almost 40 years old. And COVID, I was near 60. So I get it, folks are annoyed at the boomers and things, but we didn't necessarily make these things happen, and now I'm going on a rant, and I don't want to do that, but these are the reasons why. And there's one last thing that is financial in nature that ties in with all the other stuff. And that's, if you're American, that's the issue of healthcare. In the United States, for those of you who live elsewhere, maybe you know this living elsewhere, but we know it living here, you don't get health care as like a benefit of citizenship. You have to pay for it on the free market, which is not really a free market insofar as there are all kinds of different subsidies and laws that require this happens and that happens, and agreements with insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies, and it is not by any means simply a free market like you would think. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Should we have a freer? If we're going to have a market, should it be freer? Or if we're going to have a market, should it be less free? Or, as many people argue, it should not be a market. When you take into consideration the general risk aversion, college debt, low employment or high unemployment, high underemployment, the financial strains of any number of events over the last 30 years that have affected their economic health, directly or indirectly. And then you add to it the idea that you could go completely bankrupt and bankrupt your parents. If you're a young person, you get in a motorcycle accident, you're 17, and you end up on permanent, you need permanent care because you're in a wheelchair or you're bedbound, you break, who knows what, we all know what can happen on a motorcycle. Forget death. You become a financial burden for your entire family. Worst case scenario. But that can happen in the United States. In any event, you're going to pay. So I think people really underestimate how important healthcare security is. And the notion that Americans, I don't think, have a concept of what it would be like to have that burden lifted off their shoulders. Because if you're not worried about it as an American, like I'm riding a motorcycle with our healthcare system, folks in foreign countries would call me absolutely insane. Why would you ever do that? I know the costs are to me if I fall. Well, they're going to be to me and my wife. I think in the United States, that's why you get a lot of people ride without helmets. If I'm going to crash, I might as well die. Because then, you pay once, pay the funeral, bingo, done. You save the head, I don't need to say it. So in any event, those are my reasons. Risk aversion. There's no breeding ground for them. Debt, unemployment, underemployment, significant, horrible financial events that occurred in the last 30 years. And lastly, the potential of staggering healthcare costs that would be absolutely life-changing. What would you add to the list? What comments do you have? You let me know in the comments. Until next time, this is the Two Wheel Boomer. Peace.